Hey, something a little different this week. I'm going on a little 2-day moto adventure. The destination? Death Valley. Welcome to Urban Monk TV.
As I was riding, I saw these two large balls, I'll call them. I don't know if they were radar stations or what was inside those balls, but there's this one on the left and the one on the right. And they were intriguing because they were in the middle of nowhere. But they obviously serve a purpose.
Stovepipe Wells, saloon, restaurant. Ordered a steak. It's gluten-free.
Your friends are here?
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I'm in the tent. Low is 52 degrees tonight. I'm trying to be quiet because I have neighbors that are trying to sleep in their tents. But got here a little after dark and was able to set my tent up. Being a Minnesotan who's never set a tent up in the desert, found it interesting that tent stakes are pretty much worthless here. The ground is like rock, and you cannot get your tent stakes in. So I ended up using bungee cords and some string that I had on the V-Strom, and put very large rocks at all four corners and just tied the tent down to these rocks. So kind of interesting, this desert camping. Very different thing. Missed the campfire. Can't do those here. Wish we could. And because camping without a campfire is very strange to a Minnesotan. And had a great dinner. We'll see you in the morning. By the way, the stars are amazing. And it's just before Christmas, 2018. And I'm getting tired. And the moon was huge tonight. So, I don't know, I guess they said something about the moon hasn't been this big on Christmas since 1977. So, very cool over the hills and mountains that surround Death Valley here. So, having a great time. Good night. Good morning. Talking quietly because I've still got neighbors sleeping here in the campground, but about 50 degrees, I'm guessing, Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. Pretty well bundled up here, but quiet, dead quiet. Not crickets, not frogs, no birds chirping in the morning as the sun's coming up. Just once in a while a car, and it's, pretty rare that a car comes by. Sorry, I don't know why that went out of focus. So, this morning, get things packed up, get some cameras charged, and see what Death Valley has to offer us for today. visit the lowest point in North America. I think it's 282 feet below sea level. That's pretty much what Death Valley's most famous for, and movies. Some of what we'll see here was Tatooine in Star Wars, and a bunch of other Star Wars episodes. I couldn't tell you what they filmed here, so I'm not going to pretend to try. And there's a ghost town I'm going to go visit, an old Gold Rush ghost town that's just across the border in Nevada, not far from here, like 40 minutes, and we'll check that out. Had my hot green tea, had a little granola, probably stop at a restaurant and grab some eggs and hash browns. Sign that it's time to go is when you're starting to get hot in your gear and get on the road. You won't be hot. Rhyolite is a ghost town on the eastern edge of Death Valley, kind of in the northeastern corner of it. And this was a particularly fun spot for me to visit because you see the remnants of people's lives in this area. And, the walls, though they're broken down and falling apart, just really spoke to me about real people that are as human as I am or we are today. This is an interesting house built out of about 50,000 beer bottles and liquor bottles by a guy named Tom Kelly. After the town was abandoned, it fell into disrepair, but was restored in 1925 by Paramount Pictures for the filming of a silent movie called The Airmail. This is the probably most complete structure in town. It is the train station that was serviced by the Las Vegas and Tonopah Railroad. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that was your way in or out of Rhyolite. Here I'm approaching the Cook Bank, and at least what remains of it. Here's a photo of the Cook Bank from its heyday in 1908. This would have been at the peak of Rhyolite as a town. Rhyolite was founded in 1905, and Charles Schwab had bought a mine nearby called the Montgomery Shoshone Mine, and he invested heavily in the area. Population grew to something between, I guess, 3,500 to maybe 5,000 in the peak, which was, I guess, around 1907, 1908. But at some point then the mine became devalued, and suddenly the ore was not worth what everyone thought it was worth. And by 1911, they had shut down the mine, and by 1916, the town was pretty much done. They shut off the water and electricity. I'm just fascinated thinking about the people who lived in this town, the people that worked in that caboose. These men who spent a lot of time traveling, and very human, like men today. What do they long for? Look at the pictures of girls and women on the walls in the background. Men back then were very similar to men today. Very human, very real, not unlike us. Behind me, over my shoulder, is Corkscrew Peak, which has these angled layers of rock that give it kind of a corkscrew appearance. This area is called Mud Canyon. The word mud, of course, suggests that there was ever water here in the first place, which is kind of surprising. But it creates this really interesting landscape where the road cuts through this low-lying, mud, I guess it's supposed to be. But it's, almost like the road eroded away the mud in this area, like a river would cut through rock. Very neat little spot. If you come to Death Valley, you're essentially visiting the planet of Tatooine from Star Wars, the A New Hope episode, and then also Return of the Jedi was filmed here. So there's a lot of different locations that they shot in Death Valley, but it gives you that otherworldly feeling when you're here. It's fantastic. Remind me never to leave Los Angeles on Highway 15 on a holiday weekend. The traffic you're seeing here is actually 3 layers deep. The main highway is at a standstill, and then there's 2 side roads. One you can see behind here, and another one that's on the other side of the road. They were all just a long string of parked cars, essentially. I wondered how long it took those people to get to their destination.
Wow. That was something.